tonight. Thank you for joining me. I'm Ayasha Loya with Ayasha Loya Fine Arts. And I have been editing videos since last night. My apologies, I haven't uploaded recently, but I did have a little touch of pneumonia. I think walking pneumonia. And anyways, I feel better. And so here we are, editing videos to teach you about Cubism. I loaded one today, and on Monday it's available. Then another one I'm working on today also is 10 genius art hacks that every Cubist artist should know and that Picasso would definitely approve. Now I'm having a little difficulty with this one, editing and loading and uploading today and downloading. So I'm just going to kind of kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to work on the piece that is also started within that video that'll be loaded probably this evening, hopefully. If not, it'll be loaded by Monday for sure, or tomorrow. And so this was the beginning of a piece. We were talking about how emotions come through art, and then talking about genius hacks that every Cubist should know and Picasso would approve. So I'm going to do a live with this and complete it with live, and then take parts from that and insert it into my other video. So you'll see this kind of in two of my videos, from beginning on the other video to in the middle of it now, and then we'll finish it off. So I hope you guys are all having a great weekend. Thank you for joining me on my channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more updates. I know that weekends is not real big on people on art around this time. Maybe not. People are probably still busy outdoors in other states. It just now is getting dark here. So anywhere you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're enjoying and having a wonderful weekend. So I was working on the concept of overlaying an object and different perspectives to overlaying that object and how they come together with Cubism. Now we're going to form a shadow light and do a little bit of perspective on this, and speak about how to... We spoke in the previous video I was speaking is hack 2 was a limited palette trick, and I was using 3 or 4 colors here. There's 4 colors, as you can see here: green, black, green, neon green, blue, and orange. And so those were a limited palette trick to Cubist art palette. Less is more in a Cubist impact. Has more of a Cubist impact. I'm sorry. But bold colors amplify emotion and style. So the less is more with Cubism as far as colors and style go. So I was just kind of blending this out a little bit with some water and having the colors move a little. And now I'm going to form some other colors and stuff within this piece and just see what happens here. I'm going to kind of let the water show me where my next Cubist lines may go, or where my shadows may end up on this piece, which it is looking like. And I really am liking this, actually, this piece. So I'm loving how it's spreading out on the bottom here and just kind of giving it that little bit of shadow and depth and definition, and it's climbing up the page. It's really cool how the water is just climbing right up the page as it dries. So again, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Ayasha Loya Fine Arts. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Carrie Carney. And hello, me 78983. How are you this evening? Tonight I'm focusing on a simple object and Cubism with basic colors. So we're breaking down an object and building it up, sketching a simple object, then we redraw it from 3 different angles So I took these objects and then drew them from different angles and perspectives, along with the leaves and the stems of the flowers, as you can see. And this is the very essence of Cubism, is layering them together and looking at them from different perspectives. And the second thing we were doing is choosing 3 to 4 bold colors that amplify emotions and style. Less is more again in Cubist impact. Now, we're going to use a little bit of reverse perspective. So, flip my light source. And when I flipped my light source, the logic is to create surreal or fractured space, which this allowed me to create. But this also still shows a dark shadow here. So I'm just going to go with a little bit of some blacks and oranges and throw in a shadow. The shadows over here. And now the blackest of the black that you're ever going to get, like Da Vinci, he used to mix his own blacks too. If you want the blackest of the black, purple and red with some blue and black, oh, I mean, you get the blackest of the blacks. And you can see I'm getting a couple different tones. But I'm trying to make it where it's showing the shadow in different perspectives here, as you can see. Oh, different perspectives. So I've been working on a lot of Picasso pieces, Picasso style inspired pieces. I am a Picasso-inspired Native American artist. And I really enjoy Cubism a lot. So here's my piece so far from what I've done. When it dries a bit, I'll show you my other pieces that I worked on. So we can talk a little bit more about Cubism and Picasso while we're waiting for this to dry for a second. I'll set that aside and we'll look at some pieces of Picasso and speak about that. Just to see what some of the most interesting pieces are. And the woman with the fan is absolutely one of my favorite pieces. Hi, Cos, how are you? Thank you for subscribing. I will subscribe back and stay connected. All of you who don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'll stay connected. But the woman with the fan is one of the most famous pieces Picasso did. Look at all that, all those shapes, all those edges, sharp edges on all of his pieces. Isn't it extraordinary? Just extraordinary. And here's the woman sitting in the chair. As you can see, the chair has like a rectangular back and then perhaps a square rectangular bottom. And with the arms here, and it's just very simple. And the fan is very simple with a few lines in it. The hand is very simply bent over, so as to say. And it looks as if the chair has cut off the arms. The chair becomes one with the arms, which is very neat. And the emotions, what do you think about the expression on the woman with the fan's face? What comes to your mind? What kind of emotions do you think that Picasso perhaps was thinking when he painted this? Or did he have a live model perhaps? And this was painted in 1908. So the woman with the fan is very, very well known. Let's look at some other pieces. I like, you see though how he stayed within a certain color tones, like I was talking about. He only used very minimal colors on that piece. This piece he really did, but this piece he used a couple more colors, maybe 4 or 5, but very minimal colors. When it comes to Cubism, you want to stay minimal when it comes to the Cubism. Here's another great piece. nude in the forest, La Grande Dragande, in 1908, where he did another without clothed human, a female, and he did it in very, very, very sharp, figurative shapes, cubism shapes. And look at that expression on that face as well, and just the way the body just leans into it. Here's a still, kind of like a still art, fruit in a wine glass that he did. And you can see he used very, very few colors in this as well. Now here's the Dancer of Avignon. Dancer of Avignon, he did it in 1907. And that's a black and white. Very, very expressionable. As if the dancer's got its arms behind its head and its legs are just in movement. Subtle movement. Sharp but subtle movement. So this piece actually demonstrate more emphatically than the finished work just how captivated he was by the primitive vision. At times it became dominant, yet while Picasso devoted his attention to it, his response to other problems in form and composition leapt intuitively rather than methodically ahead. A later study revealed for the first time the nature conquering quality that later became recognizable as central to Picasso's temperament. So his style and his movement and the way he conquered the quality of his artworks became first-time nature in his temperament, however he felt. In that sense, the Dancer of Avignon seems, in retrospect, more advanced than many studies of his 2 previous years. And this is a fact, yes. Thank you for joining me. If you just came to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more. And another famous one. We all have seen this one. It is one of the most well-known pieces of Picasso. Very famous piece. I just love the expressionism. I love his sharp edges. I love the movement and the stance and the humans or the figures. Self-portrait of Picasso that he did of himself in 1907. We're going to have to do one of Picasso together. An oil one, I suppose. And I'll put some more stuff in it as well. So, yeah. More pieces Pablo's done. So I highly recommend this book, Cubism by Paul Waldo Schwartz. And he talks about the fact that between 1907 and the onset of World War I, when there was association was cut short, a group of young painters in France developed the style of Cubism. And one of those group of young painters, of course, was Pablo Picasso, as you would know. And Brosque and their followers sought to achieve geometrical and architectonic analysis of forms and their relationships. So they really took some like the Saints, African, and other primitive art styles, and then kind of in collaboration, they made the perfect composition where they could be more expressive, but yet still it'd be their style, their objects, and they're superimposing different views of each one upon the other, penetrates a very essence to recreate its total structure. So this is like very inspiring I advise you, if you are going to do Cubism in any form or manner, study, study, study Pablo Picasso and Brusque. And of course, this one of my faves, one of my favorites. What do you guys think he was thinking? What emotions do you think was going through his head at this time? You know, there's many stories about Picasso. If you have never watched it, National Geographic made a series called The Genius about the life of Picasso from the time he was a little boy till the time he was an adult. Maybe this was a scary lady to her, smoking a cigarette, or some just old French lady who was an art collector and she wanted a self-portrait done. And that's what he did for her. Weeping woman, she's crying, of course. So she was crying about something, smoking a cigarette. Thank you for joining me and subscribing and sharing and liking my art channels and commenting. If you comment, I promise to comment back within a couple days. And let's see how our piece is drying. We're working on some nice pieces here. So this piece is what we're working on now, and it's still drying. So we're going to kind of help it out, but we're going to switch it up so we can show you what I worked on yesterday. This I worked on yesterday. I still got a lot of work to do, but this was what's on Monday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will see the instructional video on this piece. And that's the 7-day art challenge for emotional art, cubism, and art and healing. And this one I did over the weekend with my granddaughter. She did a little panda, somewhere she has her drawing here. And then I decided to just do a lady with a flower. I'm inspired by spring, of course. And I love to see different perspectives and different colors raise up from the ground and flourish, and how the seeds and everything just comes to life, and how the white canvas from winter just turns and flourishes into everything. So I kind of wanted to show that from my perspective, I'm looking at it as if it's a small little seedling just growing and flourishing out. And I love flowers. Of course, I'm a Anishinaabe, Native American, and so I love flowers. Those are some pieces that I wanted to share with you. We'll just go through a sketchbook journal, flip through, while we wait for this one to finish writing. Because it may take a minute. If you haven't seen some of my other videos, I have a couple of little pieces that I worked on throughout the years. I don't know if you can see this one. This is one that I sketched real quick, a native one, years ago. In 2022, apparently. And this is another one that I did in 2022. Another one that I've done. Oh, there it is. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and share and like to keep you updated. We're working on Cubism and just looking at sketchbooks and art right now while I wait for that other art piece to dry so we can move forward with the art lesson. Here's a piece I did. You guys might like this one. This one's a very springy one, and this was done with these tempera paint markers. These things are so awesome. And if you use rubbing alcohol to blend with these, they work phenomenal. You get them from iHeartSupplies.com. Tempera paint sticks. So I'll show you another piece. And that's what I used on some of this piece I showed you a minute ago. They dry really quick. I mean, like, really quick. Here's some little flowers. I was just doodling one day. And here's the piece that I first did with those tempera paint sticks. And I am so impressed. What do you guys think? Have you ever tried any of those paint sticks? Acrylic paint sticks or tempera? If you have, let me know. Comment down below. And what brand have you used? Where have you got your supplies from? But yes, this is one of my favorite pieces too. You can really see the color. It's very shiny though. But yes, this is a nice piece. And you always should put a frame around it if you're planning on matting and framing it eventually one day. It's good too. And here's my Jesus hands with the sunflowers coming out and the seeds and petals. I haven't finished that one yet. I still have to finish that one. I have art everywhere, 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 everywhere. But I like to share with you guys. So I'm gonna wait for this to dry and I'll be back in a little bit. I'll bring more art so I can share more art. See you in a little bit. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.